Winston stopped writing, partly because he was suffering from cramp. He did not know what had made him pour out this stream of rubbish.
Hey guys, Mark from Generation Y, here with my co-host Dan, and yeah, we're going to get back into it tonight with a few more
Mark,
deep. Yes.
did you change clothes?
Yes.
You're so smart. I was thinking that a little bit early. Listen, we're doing 2 in 1 day, so I'm still wearing. I am not a disgusting person, or at least not going to do this in public. If I was going to wear the same clothes a couple days in a row, I would hide it, or at least wear a black shirt. Just saying, smart on him. Mark's a professional. Welcome to Generation Y. God damn it. No, but yeah, dude. Yeah, listen, I'm disgusting. I'm a person. I hope I revel in. It's just. I hope you guys are ready for a fun one. I'm gonna prove the conspiracy theory that America funds the NHS. No, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna be able to prove that. I think we already kind of he kind of definitely proved me wrong in some areas. I still think I have some good cases to make. Not necessarily for the NHS, but
I agree.
You know, I think there's a lot to go around. We're going to get into some stories like usual. Also, thank you guys if you're new subs. We appreciate like, share, subscribe. Don't be and like listen, there's something that Mark and I will have to talk more about later, and I know I'm kind of bringing it up randomly. I don't know how long we're going it's going to be kind of the first story we talk about in the second one and even a little bit of the third one. They might all be connecting. The censorship, man. Like and it's going to get worse because this midterms elections for the U.S. is going to get bad. It's going to get progressively worse. So we might have to think about like, where should we go? Where should we start uploading other content to? Maybe start a locals page. Also, sorry, I'm rambling. Please go to Zoobox, 2 words, Zoobox podcast. It's a little bit different than what we're doing here. We're a little more serious. We joke around a little bit here, but it's a wild, fun time. So if you guys could go check that out, because we already surpassed the subs, and I think they might be a little bit jelly belly, dude. We need to go share the wealth, get them over 500. Help us out. We talk about movies, sports, anything. We get ridiculous. We scream at each other. We yell. We curse at each other. It's a good time. So please go check it out. And that's how Mark and I got connected, was because he followed Zoobox. So, hey, we got a network, and it's more content if you enjoy or if you want to talk crap to me. So either way, it's over there. I appreciate it.
Dan reads all the comments.
All of them, dude. I do not usually read comments. Once in a while, I'll take a peek. But then you're just like, I got to get out of this, man. I just like but hey, you know, first story, I think really important. And I think this is really interesting. So CPAC is the conservative conference, basically, that they hold. This is where they do straw polls. This is where people give speeches. This is kind of like where your more popular candidates are going to be present. And obviously, the most popular person in the conservative movement at this current moment is who? Donald Trump. So CPAC has a YouTube channel, and they posted the speech that Mr. President Trump gave, and it was removed, citing, I think, like, you know, breaking COVID violation stuff, and then also talking about the election. And their account was frozen from a week from posting. They can't post. They can't do anything. That's pretty wild, man. Like, we know why they're doing it, but we're so desensitized to it.
Well, that's what people said about, I don't know, I guess 18 months ago when we started seeing it a bit. It became a bit more common. Sorry, I lost my voice from last night. And, you know, people were saying that they're going to start slow. One here, one there. Well, they started big with a couple of big ones, but, you know, they were sort of doing it in small chunks. And they said, a lot of people said, the whole point is so that people don't really notice at first, like they're not really. And that's true, because I've had a lot of channels that I've been sub to, and I thought, wow, I haven't heard from them for a while. And you go and look it up, and it's gone. And so I think that's the whole point, is to try and make it subtle so people don't know. And but, you know, I also have to say the YouTube is the best of a bad bunch. Like, it's way better than Twitter or Facebook.
But see, that's the thing is like it's encroachment. Dude, what they're doing is not allowing doctors to talk about stuff. They're not, you are not allowed to say certain people's names because it has a political possibility of, whatever. It started with political correctness and the advertisers and all this stuff, people making bad jokes. You have H3H3, which they're completely establishment stooges now. I mean, they just say whatever the establishment does. H3H3 used to make some of the edgiest content on YouTube.
He did. And then just, from what I heard, he had a meeting with somebody at YouTube.
Yeah, Stephen Wojcicki or whatever her name is. Susan Wojcicki or
I think it's Wojcicki.
Wojcicki, yeah. And this is the thing, though. It's like they had to make a decision like profit or stand by my principles. I know I'm not like a bad guy. I supported H3H3 when they were having that lawsuit over the DMCA stuff. And they won. So, hey, they are the ones that are there to make money. And, that's not why I'm doing this. I don't know if that's why. I don't think you were doing it necessarily just for money.
No.
Not at all
For money.
Yeah, me neither. I'm here just to be able to try to entertain people, but also let's be honest and let's stop bull crapping each other. And it's like banning the president from the ex-president now from speaking because they don't want him to grow, dude. It was Donald Trump got 71% in the straw poll, okay, and then I think DeSantis got 21%. Everybody else was 1% or 0. Mike Pence, the ex-vice president, got 0%.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, it doesn't surprise me anymore. I think a lot of people on the right and the center have kind of, they're aware of the uni party, and there are maybe a handful of people, Josh Hawley, DeSantis, Ron Paul, Rand Paul, Jesus.
Ron Paul I mean, honestly, yeah, but I'd love Ron, so.
Yeah, it's me too. But yeah, and there's one more I can't think.
Matt Gaetz.
Thomas Massey.
I love Massey.
Right,
Thomas
so
Massey. He liked one of my tweets, I'm just saying.
I remember a big occasion.
It was a big
so yeah, there's maybe half a dozen of people in the Republican Party.
Marjorie Taylor
Libertarians,
Greene, Boebert, there's some,
I'm not true. That's fair. Maybe there's
they're making demands. They're making demands. Like Ted Cruz coming out and saying fully vaccinated people should not have to wear a mask on planes. Fuck you. I'm an American. I shouldn't even have to wear a mask on a plane. You advocating for this medical tyranny is disgusting to me. And then the crisis with his family not the crisis. Texas had their crisis, and then he goes to Cancun, which I understand. He had the resources and abilities to do so. I'm not necessarily judging him on that, but it does say something about your character a little bit.
I think
could have went to Florida, bro.
Yeah. I think most people in the world where he lives would be a freaking holiday destination. But yeah, I think Ted Cruz 4 years ago, I thought, geez, who's this dweeb? Yeah, I'm sure he would have thought the same if he'd met me. But, and then I kind of started thinking, he kind of seems cool. And he's grew a beard and he didn't seem quite as dorky. And he kind of seemed to be a little bit more, he seemed to kind of find his gonads. And I don't know. And then he just kind of started to slide backwards a bit. I think with Ted is he wants to be one of the new breed, but he is one of the old breed. He can be one of the he can be one of the best. That's cool, man. He can be one of the best of the old breed, but he is old breed. And so, but I think he wants to be one of the new breed, but it's not quite coming off because every time he does something that is new breedy, he then does something that's big time slimy. So it's difficult.
That's gross to me though. Like you're only advocating for what part of America? You're only advocating for one section. This is not how we function. This is not what it's about. It's about freedom, liberty. I do not need Ted Cruz to be talking about this type of crap. If he's going to come out with some half-ass, half-baked statement, I don't need to hear from you, Ted. I don't care. You have lost the narrative. It's over. Like the people like Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, all these freaking dudes, it's over. So many
Well,
people are
yeah.
waking up, dude. They're like, I am done with these people that like, oh, you're gonna go talk about Kevin McCarthy's talking about, oh, it's a tragedy. What happened to Tucker Carlson? When he's the one him and Devin Nunes signed the FOIA 702 crap.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. I mean, to be honest as well, I'd really like to get a lefty on just because I'd like to just talk to him and see like why they think that, how they think certain things could work, and but not one that's like an attitude-y, I couldn't be doing with that. Maybe one day, but not just yet. But
like Vosh or somebody is like,
right. I just can't. I'll tell you the thing with Vosh, right? He talks about, now I talk about America.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm being slightly hypocritical, but I also think that, I follow American politics tightly because it has such a massive effect on my country. Like we've been through this before. American politics put my fuel costs up 30%. That's just one of 1,000 things that my country is affected by. So you follow it. He does not follow British politics. And I remember one occasion where he was talking about the grooming gangs, and he basically said that it was all made up. It was all a lie. It was a right-wing conspiracy. I'm like, dude, even the left wing in my country talk about it all the time and how terrible it is. Like, don't be a freaking idiot. And like, there's another
I don't think he's an idiot. I think he's playing opposition. He's doing that's what communists do. And it's like like today, what's going on in Cuba?
Mm-hmm.
They are all the Marxists, like all the leftist anarcho people. They're all like calling on their brothers and sisters to go beat the crap out of these people because they're like, it's a U.S. conspiracy this is what the U.S. does. They come in, they infiltrate these, and then they create. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's possible the U.S. is playing a role, like psychologically doing stuff, but it's really been since they had the introduction of the phones in 2018. Like now they can have 3G internet and they can things. They start seeing you and I living good ways, good lives, and they don't want to live their old way. And that's the problem with these Marxists. They'll lie. They'll show pictures of Pyongyang in North Korea. Look, they have better infrastructure than the U.S.
Oh my goodness. I saw something the other day about that Pyongyang where I can't remember what it was on, but most people were saying
that's North Korea, by the way, if you guys don't know.
Yeah. Most people were, telling the truth, and they were repeating the words of that young lady that escaped. You'll know her name. I can't remember it.
Yeonmi Park.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeonmi Park. And and then this dude who's, I don't know, his username is something like Proud Commie or something like that.
Yeah.
And he came along and he was like, I can't remember what he said, but it was something along the lines of, do you really think that they don't have electricity? The whole country has power and this and that and the other. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. Like, it just doesn't.
It's
why
literally
are you lying?
From the space station when it's at night.
Right.
The
Pitch
only light is Pyongyang, and everything else is complete blackness.
Yeah.
It looks like a nipple.
Okay? Yeah. Yeah. It's
a
crazy.
Tyranny nipple.
So, but yeah. And then the other thing that Vaush said was he was having a debate with somebody, and they were watching something on the screen, and it was an Australian woman that had been raped. She was talking about being raped, and Vaush was like, yeah. Oh, God, the patriarchy. Oh, men are so disgusting, blah, blah, blah. He's maybe not wrong. But, and they were talking about it, and then she said, she was an Australian woman, then she suddenly said, yeah, he was what was it? He was a Somalian refugee or something. And look, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying what she said. She said, yeah, he was a Somalian refugee. Literally, I've never seen anything like this in my life. He turned on a dime like that. And he was like, oh, come on. Oh, here we go. This is all right. And I'm like, dude, so literally when she tells you where the guy is from, you change your opinion on a dime.
Dude, these people, man, and this is Vaush is a smart man. That is not a dumb person. Like this is selectively chosen. I mean, that's just how it's like Tim. I love Tim. I love Tim Pool. I like him. I don't praise the ground he walks on, but Tim is known to be like me. I'm the same way, egotistical. Kind of don't want to change my mind on shit. Yeah. But when I do, it's like full tilt. Like I'm like I went from being like, not even a few months ago, Blue Lives Matter, like like all this stuff. Then I'm like, nah, dude, we're getting fucked. Like, and that's just like how my brain works, I guess. Like, I just have a switch and I just go, oh, it clicks, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's really like someone like Destiny is a more favorable leftist, like someone you can actually talk to. Destiny seems like a guy you can just conversate with.
Yeah, I guess you could converse with, but like I still feel like Destiny is and I only say this if I had never seen if I'd never seen Destiny in live debates and how he was when Jack Posobiec was doing a live debate at Politicon.
But they
I
had a
would
debate at Politicon?
They didn't have a debate. Jack was in a debate with like 4 people. He was in the audience. If I'd never seen how he was outside of his edited, like he edits his streams from Twitch and well, before he was banned, and
Yeah.
then puts them on YouTube. The way he is in that, he comes across as very calm, very factual, and he certainly makes you think like, yeah, that's a fair point. I am kind of using my emotions a bit too much there. However, when I see him like the way he actually is, when he's not edited, he's just bonkers. Like I know he suffers from autism, and I think he has another mental illness, and that must be tough. But you know, like the way he acts at these things, like if somebody's having a debate and they say a point that he disagrees with, he will go full bore 12-year-old Paddy. You know, he'll have a proper Paddy, a proper fit.
And like, as an emotional guy myself,
Hmm.
I understand. Like sometimes it's like word vomit. It's like something you try to like, and this is part of growing up. And if like, I don't know if I have autism. I mean anyone could be autistic these days, I guess. At least, but I will I will admit just for me personally is like I have to be careful of that myself.
Yeah, but I've
You
never
know,
seen you remotely close to what he was doing that
no,
time.
but like Destiny when he spoke out on the Kyle Rittenhouse, and I thought
Oh, yeah.
his like I think there's things that when they're very nuanced, that's
Mm.
where you're gonna get tripped up. It's like anything. It's kind of like what we'll be talking about today. There's a lot of nuance here. There's a lot of possibilities of being wrong. Like I literally said a plane flew 44,050 whatever, and I was so wrong. Like it was so wrong. I was so wrong. I was embarrassed. It was so wrong. I was like, oh my god, like how much other shit am I wrong about? Like
Oh,
no,
yeah.
but but that is good. I'm being confronted in that way, and you do it in a way that I really appreciate. Like I just wanted to let you know that.
Oh, I appreciate that, man.
That's why what we're gonna do is gonna work
Mm-hmm.
because
I agree.
we can suppress our egos to have a real conversation. Maybe get a little irritated every now and then. Whatever, I'm sure that will happen, but I don't think it's gonna be like, "Fuck you, man, we're fucking done. I'm
I
changing the
don't.
password."
I don't ever want to fully agree with anybody on Earth with everything.
Edgar, I 100% yes. Like,
Like I would feel like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like I agree with everything this guy says.
yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Well,
It's like,
I
no,
guess I was just to say, I guess like this is the issue that we're having as people is that we want to be so nice. We're not willing to like, this is what I like about Destiny. Even Vosh, like they're willing to be like, fuck you.
yeah.
And like, there's a respect there I can have in a way. No, because dude, listen, if
Mhm.
they truly, like when it comes down to, if someone walked up to my kid and it was like the thing that we were talking about the last episode with the dildo and all the awful. I have a right to tell that person to go screw themselves. Like I don't care what you believe, what your structure is. You're in public with a phallic, and you know what I'm saying, a phallic
Yeah,
image
bare
exposed to my
buttock.
child. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah,
You either walk away or you get knocked out. Like those are your options. Like this is it.
right.
Like you're committing. You're in my opinion, you'd be hurting my child. But it just goes,
Well, you would be.
yeah,
You're
like
emotionally damaging a child.
or something. I don't even know. It's a craziness. So I think there are just clear lines. Like for me, like I can have discussions about abortion. I can have discussions about it. I can have discussions
Mhm.
about those things. I don't think it is a nuanced conversation for me myself. I
Mhm.
just don't. I don't believe in the death penalty in any aspect of life.
Mhm.
That's why I'm like against the war. That's why I'm against a lot of things. I think there's better ways to deal with things.
Oh man, I could so get right into that, but we won't.
About
Well, we will
abortion?
another time. We will another.
Abortion?
Not abortion.
I was
I'm,
like, oh.
but like the death penalty. Like if someone said this, like I'll give you an example. There was a Colombian priest who raped and murdered 291 boys. Like, would I want to pay $70,000 a year, or would I just put all of us out of our collective misery? No, I'd put all of us out of our collective misery.
Well, the problem is that you're paying $70,000 a year to put someone in a hole. That's the issue. It's not the fact of keeping the guy alive. It's the cost of keeping the guy alive. Give him bread,
Yeah,
water, and protein.
right. But what? Yeah, but that's true. That's true. But what's the point? Why would I want to keep an absolute
Because
monster
once the
alive?
state, because this is the issue, and like I don't want to get too deep. This could
No.
lead perfectly to Sharia law because they believe in execution.
Yeah.
So I don't believe no state, okay, should be able to kill anybody. Because
Yeah,
and Tim has
fair
talked
point.
about this because if one guy's innocent, it ruins the whole system. It destroys the meaning of it, and there's no way to really know. 100%. Yes, if there's videos, there's obviously like, but there's going to be gray area. There's going to be, whatever. There's bad people out there. I throw them on an island or something. Like I just let them fend for themselves. I don't know what the answer is, but the answer is not murder.
Yeah.
It may be justified. I just have like a really giving the state that power. It's like how can we give cops guns and have that power, but the people don't have that power? I don't have the power to go. You know what happens if I go and I believe I've been wronged as an individual and I go, do something to a politician? That's called an assassination. Because I believe, no, we shouldn't do that. There's just no murder, no death. No, we don't need to kill people. That guy will rot in jail in horrible conditions. And I hope he fucking thinks about and no access to internet, like just a horrible life. Because that's the hell. He needs to experience hell twice. That's what I think. Experience hell twice.
I'll just two things. Hopefully, I can remember them. The first thing was you correctly said, if you have one that goes wrong, where it's like an innocent man, that screws up the whole system. Yep, I agree. But that's similar to the gun debate, where people tell me, and I've used it as when I'm playing devil's advocate. If one guy is crazy and he shoots 4 people and 2 of them die, I wouldn't then say that all guns should be taken away because one mistake happened. So taking the fact that it's the state out of it, just the fact that we're saying if there's one problem where it goes wrong, then we should never do it again. I wouldn't agree with that in the gun thing.
It's about the power of the state.
But that's what I'm saying. If you remove the state out of the argument.
Okay, let's take the state out of it. I can kill someone in defense of myself or others of my property. That's it. You can kill someone if your life is in danger, or someone trying to break in your house or whatever. That's the line. Those aren't mistakes. Someone going out deliberately killing people is not a mistake. These are not accidents. These are planned, and bad people do bad things. And more people with guns that do good things, it protects us all equally. It makes us equal. So on even playing field. So but when the state, think about this. So in your country, the police, or maybe not yours, because you guys do have small arms. You can have some things, but the government has way more power and way more guns and way more authority. So it's they could literally call anybody they want a issue, a problem, a domestic violent extremist, like they're trying to redo things here in the United States.
Yeah.
And then they can shoot you.
Yep.
And that's my issue,
really good points. And I've forgotten my second point. Anyway, very good points. I will think on that. Let's move on.
Let's jump in. This is perfect because what we're going to be talking about is Taliban judge in Afghanistan, you said?
Yeah. So
instituting Sharia law nationwide. And if
just to bring that up. So
they may actually explain Sharia law. Let's see if they actually explain what Sharia law actually is. Okay.
So this is from the Daily Mail. Gay men will be crushed to death by pushing a wall onto them as part of nationwide return to Sharia law in Afghanistan under the Taliban. one of the Islamist group's judges reveals. Gul Rahim, 38, a Taliban judge, has given a glimpse of the life under the Islamist group. And then it says, a Taliban judge has given a terrifying glimpse into life under the Islamist group and the fate that awaits Afghanis if the country falls back under their control. Gul Rahim, 38, spoke matter-of-factly about how they will be cutting off hands and legs of thieves, issuing permits for women to leave their homes, and toppling walls on gay men as a form of execution in his Taliban-controlled district in central Afghanistan. He added that his aim is to introduce the Sharia law punishments across the whole of the country if the Taliban can retake control once America departs, saying, "That was our goal, and it always will be." The Taliban claim they have already taken control of 80% of Afghanistan since NATO withdrew its forces, leaving local troops to deal with the Islamists. The threat of Sharia law is already very real for many, and there is... Oh, hold on. Okay. Asked as to what punishments the Taliban would consider for gay men, he replied that there are only two options, either stoning or he has to stand behind a wall and we will collapse it on him. The wall must be 8 to 10 foot high and 2 foot thick, he said. That's very specific. And then the rest is kind of just about, how much they've taken back or not of the country.
So, very basically, this is very basic. So, in America, we have our founding papers, the Constitution, right? That is what we built our framework of our nation on: individual inalienable rights, and the government should be protecting those. So what they've done through the Supreme Court, judges, and all these things, much like Sharia law, they interpret the word of the founding fathers. That's what they do. They make sure that it's quote unquote constitutional. Then we have the end of the law of the land, the Supreme Court. And the reason why Sharia law is because they are interpreting the Quran like a judge is. Like, this is a judge, right?
Right.
Right. And this guy is interpreting what the Quran says and then instituting it as law. And the problem with that is that that does mean there is ways for reform. Technically, there is ways for reform if they have judges, but that guy would just be killed. The as a blasphemer. But yeah, that's basically what it is. It's man interpreting Quran to institute law, much like we do here in the United States with the Constitution. Thank God ours is not as insane. And that's terrifying.
And it makes me... I mean, the one thing I often think when I read stuff like that is, when you have... And listen, I understand the argument. Just because something isn't that bad doesn't mean that you shouldn't try and make it better. But, like, when I read things like that, and then I think about somebody like Vosh that's saying how terrible America is and how much reform needs to be done in all areas, I think, geez, come on. Like, that is a real issue. If you grow up in Afghanistan and you grow up gay, like, you can't help it. It's just the way you feel. Like, you have a target on your back. You're big time. If you're desperate and you steal, seriously? Like, you're going to have your hands removed? But, like, Ben Shapiro speaking at Harvard, so, geez, that's a problem.
We had to have
whales out.
They had to spend like an insane amount of money on like just the police. It was like hundreds of thousands of dollars for security.
Yeah, that's crazy. Did you see the recent one where those people kept interrupting him? And
I didn't even know he was out back. I've stopped listening to Ben Shapiro for mostly. I'll listen to him every now and then. It just goes like, okay, what makes any nation good? Is any nation good? Are they all wholly good? No.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, what do you mean by nation? Like that the entire group of people? Or?
Yeah, like no, like the governments, but like the people within them too. Are Americas truly free? No. We're not truly free. We're more free than Cuba and Sharia law and and other places in the world. Yeah. Oh, sorry, bro. But like we are more, but we're still under the illusion of that freedom. We are not free. We are constantly being surveilled. Our rights are being stepped on constantly, and it's escalating.
Yeah, it definitely is. But and maybe that's like an interesting point. Here I am saying that really makes me feel that is a big problem. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be talking about problems in my country and your country.
Yeah, the things that the leftists do get right is that there are issues in the U.S. that we should focus on. There are
They just
real
have the
issues.
wrong ones.
I wouldn't say wrong.
I
would
would.
say short-sighted, and they're not really planning for the future. They're planning for now. They think that change happens overnight and it will happen, and you have to be destructive and you have to get things done. And the right wing have been more like, we're going to abstain. We're just going to hold off. And now it's the right's turn to be more demanding and to change the system and much quicker. We don't have a long time to, I think, mess around personally. Like, you're going to see probably one of the most violent years in the U.S. history coming up in the next 2-3 years. Well, you're going to see it's going to explode. Are you, my God, dude, 2016, insane. 2017, even more crazy. 18, Tim Pool was talking about this actually today. 19, more crazy. 20, race riots, cities on fire, weird election things,
Yeah.
Go, like, you're like, is it gonna get better? Like, it just keeps getting worse and worse. Yeah. And now they're like domestic violent extremists everywhere. So we've created this, and this is what the interesting thing about this Taliban Sharia law stuff. It's not my right as an American to go impose my will on another country. And I don't think our government should be doing these things. And it's a dangerous, this is why they hate us. This is why they hate the US in the Middle East, because we just mess around in their stuff all the time.
Yeah, it's a very difficult problem because, and I know it's not to you, I know it's very straightforward, but sort of playing devil's advocate, I understand that you kind of have those, you would have somebody that feels for these people, and they understand that America has a very large and a very powerful military, and they think, send the military in there and, protect those people and try and implement change. However, the problem with that is that numerous extremely large superpowers have tried that for thousands of years. My father always told me my whole life how strong Afghanistan, what a fortress Afghanistan was. And not just the country itself because of its terrain, but the people themselves, their faith, their mindset, and things like that. And I just think that if you're going to try and if you're going to take your military into a country to solve certain societal problems, where do you stop? Like, do we send people into Australia, because maybe somebody thinks that some Australians are being racist or sexist? Like, where do you stop?
Or should we go there and force the government to give everyone guns?
Yeah.
Like, like some right-wing guy goes like, no, you're going to get all your people guns, or we're going to come carpet bomb your Capitol building. I don't think that's a smart idea either. I think the Australian people and New Zealand people and UK need to make their voices heard and make demands of their politicians through mass, peaceful, non-compliance. Much like the Euro Cup. We don't care about COVID restrictions. We're going to party it up. We're going to go do what we want. And there's no force on the world that can stop. How many people do you think were out in the streets? 4, 5, 10 million, like yesterday? Like, I saw
not 4 or 5 million, but like I would say at peak probably 150,000.
So is it only? I guess it's not like the United States, the way it works. Like, whatever city wins like a Super Bowl or like a big championship, that city might go a little crazy.
Yeah.
It might kind of like explode. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess
that's something you guys don't have as much because obviously you don't play that much international sport. Yeah.
Not
so
much,
not all the cities, like if England's in a final or even a semi-final, you'll see like televised every city, everyone mutually like gets together and they'll go to a green where maybe there's a big or a park, I guess you guys would call it, like where there's a big screen, and they'll all watch together and have a couple of beers. And so like, if we score a goal or whatever, everyone throws the drinks up in the air and everyone goes crazy. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Actually, it is the whole country was out.
Yeah, I was gonna say
nuts,
like
just spread.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I didn't mean like no, but I just meant like the whole country. Millions of people are out celebrating this event, And obviously London is just condensed, and that's why it got a little wild. I don't want to go change those things about the UK. The UK has to decide, the people within it, like, are we cool with like destroying our cities? Because they know the government's going to fix it no matter what happens. If the government just said, we're not fixing it, that's on you. You want to destroy your city? That's on you.
Yeah.
Then that's what I'm saying. Like, we always try to look for the governments, and like Sharia law, they're looking to their religion to solve their problems. And it's much like what we're seeing with this new rise. Not really new, but this is why it's going to get so dangerous in the US, and prepare to come to the UK. They're creating a new type of Sharia law for the US and for our allies. Like, they are literally like, if you don't do what we tell you, this is the way that people on the left are acting. Like, we're going to come for your family. We're going to take everything from you, and you'll be left with nothing. And you'll be lucky if you get your life. Like these people are psychotic. And the elites in our society think like, I mean, I don't even know if they're being as selectively stupid or they are this stupid, but they really don't think we can think for ourselves. They think we're mongoloids. They think we're just these people like, I drink beer, I love football. You know, it's like, no, dude, we're people. We have emotions, we have feelings, and we have wants and desires. And that Cuba is a perfect example. They're like,
definitely.
America doesn't need, we need to be the example, and then other places will wake up.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I could. What would be your solution with Afghanistan?
Leave
Would
it the
you
hell
just,
alone.
yeah, just step out, and whatever happens to those gays and thieves?
It's not listen, the world is a big bad place.
I agree. I'm
And
just asking.
until the gays get together and collectivize and say, we're not doing this anymore.
That would be super badass.
Like, just
Like
a
a group of
gay,
Islamic gays, just like
just beating the
naked, running
shit
with
out of
AKs.
Sharia law judges
Yeah, the
and taking them
Taliban.
on. Sorry. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
I don't.
I have come for you.
It's
I kind of hope
no.
they do, though, man. Like, I genuinely hope that they get together and like, look, like,
Well, it's like the
didn't
French.
choose this.
So, like, let's say like Cuba, they're having an uprising right now. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is, but the answer could be, should we go help foreign nations like this protest is rising, like, and arm them and like get in there and help them? Because Cuba's a bad place to live. It's not a great place. I don't know the answer to that. Part of me, like, because I'm a person, I'm like, God, I wish we could help those people, man.
Absolutely, man.
You know, like,
yeah.
and it's not, but it's like, should we? I don't know. I don't know about that, because we were not trying to make them different than what they want to be from what they're presenting themselves. So there's questions to be had there.
You know, I think it's not dissimilar to the sort of trope about people playing God. You know, when people say like,
Yeah.
you can't play God, you can't
Jurassic
choose who
Park,
lives
bro.
and dies, and like if you go into countries, you're basically doing that just on a bigger scale.
Well,
You're
it's like you're creating more people that hate. We're creating future wars. That's why we're there. That's why we do what we do. We're creating future wars. That's why we don't want to like mess with and help with the people in Cuba, probably, because if we can continue, this is what the military industrial complex wants: future wars, all about manufacturing them. Let Sharia law come back in and institutionalize itself, and then they can, like, they're probably gonna, if they're dumb, they will probably attack us again. And that's just like, it's a maybe now. But now the CIA and all these, like, they can go influence and push and just, hey, just like, kill more gays, dude. Like, start using chemical weapons. Like, we'll give them to you. And then they do, and then there's another excuse. And the thing is, we only attack third world shithole countries where they can't defend themselves against our power.
Oh, you know what? Real quick, just because
Mhm.
I'll forget this, and I wanted to say this to you for a couple of days. I do think though America is the good. You said like, are we the good one? I do think America is the good one, and I know you don't, but I just want to express. I think that the path that has been sort of trodden by career politicians over the last 30 years, I think has become warped. But like before that, like yeah, 100.
No.
Like there were terrible things done, for example, in Germany and Japan. But like Japan committed a war crime too by attacking a country without declaring war. You know, Germany bombed British towns before we ever did anything to Germany. And I know that Hitler claims it was an accident. Maybe it was. But I don't think it. I don't think you can be. I don't think you can say I'm not sure who the good one is. I genuinely think it is America and the West in general. But I would definitely say that over the last 30 years, it has become skewed, and I think it's much more like opaque now. Over the last 20 to 30 years, inclusive, I think it's much more opaque to decide what was right and what was wrong than the previous sort of 60, 70 years.
I fundamentally disagree with you because the history says otherwise. Grenada, Panama Canal was even before World War II. It was Panama Canal, right? I'm pretty sure.
The
Pretty
Panama
sure
Canal.
it was like
No, Panama Canal wasn't before World War II.
it wasn't. It was
No,
after.
correct.
Okay, it was after. My history's a little fuzzy there. Was that a good thing? I don't know. Like, do we really need to? That's our port, bro. Like, we went down and conquered that little piece of land, and we made a 100-year deal or whatever with
Oh,
them.
my bad. You know what?
I
I
think,
think you're right. I think you're right. Let me look
I
it
think
up.
it was. I think it's pre-World War II
I'm
for
thinking of
sure.
I was thinking of Noriega, not the Panama
Oh
Canal.
yeah, Noriega, Grenada, Vietnam. Uh, we are not every time. It's just like I can't like we knew Pearl Harbor was gonna happen 2 weeks before it did, and they let it happen. Was it a
Uh,
good what?
it says 1989.
Panama Canal?
Um,
Really?
yeah, but it
Wow.
wasn't. I mean, if you're talking about what
Maybe
the
that's where we got the lease from. Because I know I
no,
really
it
thought
was
it was like
definitely it
Teddy
was
Roosevelt. I thought like
yeah,
Teddy
it was.
Roosevelt.
I'm
Oh,
sure it was
that's
before that. The first
could
state
be
message.
wrong, dude.
Seen the Russians. It was 50 years ago this summer that the Panama Canal was open to traffic. I don't
Okay.
know. There's something here. Panama blow up, and that's January 12th, 1964. The Panama Canal and the conflict surrounding it, 1964.
Yeah. Okay, so
So,
let's just say to be safe, where the fact checkers come first or whatever. Yeah, I guess it's after. But like every single thing the United States, like Pearl Harbor we knew 2 weeks before it was gonna happen. We knew. We did. Like the British, you guys gave us the code to break the frequency and we could understand what they're saying or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a guy who knows a lot about that. But we knew. We had at least an idea, an inkling that there was the Japanese were heading our way. We knew. And it was a battle carrier and that they had aircraft and we knew these things. Um, is it okay to let I don't remember how many people died that day. It was a few hundred people died
it's
that
like
day.
1800.
Yeah, okay. 1,000 to 1,500 people died that day to guarantee us that we can get into a war with Japan that would allow us to go to war in Europe. I don't think so, personally. It's like
Yeah.
if let's say 9/11 was a inside job, as they would say. Some would say the conspiracy, right? If it was, is it worth losing 3,000 people's lives in the span of a few hours to go to war with the Taliban because they don't have democracy?
Yeah.
That's it's not. I don't know. Like I don't think that makes us and forget 9/11. Like is what we're doing there, where millions of people are being killed.
Mhm.
Millions.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but like,
They're defending their home. Yeah.
there in every case there were people. I completely understand what you're saying. Like, please don't think that like I'm on the
Yeah.
other side of the fence to you because I'm not. Like,
True.
I'm conflicted. I am not. I don't think that everything the West has ever done was perfect. It 100% wasn't. I just don't think that. I personally don't think that it's the case that America is not the good guy. Like, I think that there's been some shady stuff, but I think like the American people are good people that genuinely want to
Yes.
help people.
I'm
And I
talking about the
understand.
government, dude. The
Yes,
government does
yeah,
not want to help people, dude.
right. But I also think that like there was in every case there was bad stuff going on beforehand.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, well let's
Yes.
say look,
Yes.
in the Second World War there was bad stuff going on beforehand on both sides of the world to America,
Mhm.
let's say. In World War One, there was some pretty horrendous stuff going on in Europe, and you could say like, well, what was America doing in Europe? Like, okay, I can understand that argument.
Well, that might be
But
the most legitimate one that we did, because you
yeah,
guys were getting slaughtered, and then we sent our people. We got slaughtered, but we helped win. We helped you guys. We were maybe one of the final pushes, I think, right? I'm not very familiar with World
in
War One
World War
history.
Two, not in World War One.
So in World War One, you guys lost.
No, we won, but it wasn't because of America. It's more World War Two that we won because of
Okay,
America.
fair enough. Fair enough. I'll take your word on it. So World War One, but America went with good intentions in their heart, but they realized after World War One they could make money. Okay, it's called War is a Racket by Smedley Bradley, retired general from the U.S. Army.
So that's a book that Dan recommended to me. So we'll
Yes.
recommend it to you guys.
There's a
Say it again, Dan.
34-page essay you can go read online for free. It's like
Let's just say the name and the author again.
Smedley Bradley, War is a Racket. Like tennis racket.
Yep.
And the key breaks it down. Back then, he was a huge anti-war guy, massive, and spoke out against going to World War II. He's seen the most awful things, and he was like, what he noticed is, there's something he refers to where he was having a conversation with somebody, like another high-ranking general or something, and he's like the guy was sending his soldiers to go die, and he's just like, oh my God. He's like, well, we got more coming, and it's just more money for his friend that like runs the clothing company or whatever. And he started getting really freaked out or something. Something radically changed in him. And when the surveillance state, so when the CIA basically post World War II, because you guys had the SOS or the OSS, the Office of Special Services.
Yeah.
Like we took from you guys and we're like, okay, we're going to do our own thing. We created the CIA, and the FBI was for prohibition. We gave them more authority, more power, more jurisdictional privileges.
Yeah, we had the SIS, and the OSS.
There you go. And it's just one of those things where I'm just saying, like, we are okay. Let's look at this. Very simply put, the intelligence communities have been running America since World War II. They've been running it. They're the ones who have been in control. Yeah. And they got exposed under Donald Trump. They got exposed in a way that was like pretty apparent.
I think they were exposed as well.
Snowden, Assange.
Yeah, before that.
Yeah. So we're seeing is them freaking out personally. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not the people. It's this intelligence community. They're evil people, man. They do evil things.
And that kind of links us on to, what we were going to talk about in a little bit of depth today, which is obviously foreign bases, foreign military placement in peacetime and in wartime, I guess, but mainly in peacetime around the world. So, in terms of sort of how many bases countries have, it's always changing, literally month by month. So we don't have the exact, to the number, but we have the rough numbers.
Yeah, 800 million military bases around the world, right?
Yeah, so the US has between 800 and 840.
I got some funny numbers for you. 326,000 bombs were dropped since 2001. That's insane. And we did kill and displaced millions of people. We destroyed their homes. And we're going to sit there and like lecture about Cuba or Sharia law or the Taliban. And this is the thing. It's like, the military bases we have all over the world. I mean, it's unfathomable, because we went over the numbers before. UK has like what, 20?
Yeah, like 20 normal, like 20 proper bases, and like foreign overseas bases.
Yeah, here it is right here. We have the numbers. UK has like 20. China has 1, France has 14, Australia has 2. Russia has 21 foreign, mostly in, I would imagine, Syria and in Crimea, because that is still technically.
Yeah, it'll be around their border.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. So America has 800 and something, and then the next sort of 4 biggest powers in the world have less than 100 put together.
And when I was in Turkey, just for those don't know, I'm an Air Force veteran. We dropped more bombs in 1 year than the entire Iraq and Afghanistan campaigns combined.
That's crazy.
Dude, every night. I'm telling you, I used to work days. So I'd work, from like 5 a.m. to 8 o'clock at night. And you would come in the morning, and I'm talking the entire airfield, like where they would park them in these things called protective aircraft shelters. And before they bring them in, they have to, unload all the shells and everything.
Yeah.
Thousands, piles up to my knees of just shells, like 30 millimeter, and then like the massive, it's insane.
Yeah.
Every night.
That's crazy. And so I guess the question is, we have big countries, but not the biggest, like Russia, like China, who obviously don't have very many. And obviously it's a little bit complicated with China. We went over this just because they're a little bit sneakier, but they're still very home-based. Like their bases are very close to China. So even when they're doing their hopscotch thing by like going further and further south in the China Sea, obviously there was a New Zealand politician that joked that, they'll keep going until they hit New Zealand, which nowadays seems more and more likely. But, I guess the question is, in the best possible way, do the states really need 800 odd bases? I mean, and even if we say that it's 400 major bases, which is probably not, it's probably more than that.
But that doesn't include U.S. bases, right? That's just foreign.
That's foreign. That's bases abroad, bases outside America and its territories.
Dude, we probably got another 300 bases easily in the U.S.
Yeah, probably.
Easily.
And so, so these foreign bases, like, what would be the effect of it, if they were gotten rid of, or if they were even cut by 50%?
It's that dilemma. It's the same thing that I'm sure the British had to deal with when they left their colonies that they had built up, and it might have been I'm sure there was power vacuums. I'm sure people rose to power in certain parts of the country or certain parts of the world where it was bad. Some good people rose up out of it. The apartheid in South Africa, like there was some serious things that happened.
Well, I wasn't really the UK, but
no, I know. I'm just saying, but when it left, because it left. That's what I'm saying. Like when it left, things happened. Like after that, maybe weren't good. That are out of the UK's hands. And should the UK be held responsible for leaving?
Yeah. Although, but that's what I mean. Like in South Africa, it was never like a proper British colony. It was always kind of fought between the Dutch and the Brits. That's why
the Dutch. Okay.
The South African flag from like the apartheid era, unfortunately, is it's like orange, white, and blue, and it has an actual Dutch flag and a British flag in like mini versions either side of the middle. But it doesn't matter. Your point is completely correct. Power vacuums are a big deal. But I know that you want to reduce America's costs and reduce people.
Yeah,
Well, I won't say what you.
It's not the cost. The
Okay.
cost isn't the issue. It sucks. I mean, it's not good. I don't think we should be spending this amount of money. But America's fine until it's not. Like, and who knows what's going to happen just with inflation and all this crazy stuff. These people will burn us to the ground to gain power. That's what I'm saying. These people that work, these elites, the deep state, whatever you want to call them, will burn. They don't care about us. They will burn everything to the ground while they live in luxury. They don't care. You had Kamala Harris funding the rioters to get them out on bail. They have chosen sides. These are factions. They are created. This is dangerous. I don't think people realize how crazy it is when politicians are literally people who are burning down cities and they're bailing them out. That's nuts. So these bases all over the world, what happens when they are in the hands of someone truly evil, a true dictator, a true fascist, a true authoritarian, or whatever you want to call it? Guys, the whole world needs to stop this nonsense, this woke crap, because if we keep going down this road, it's going to be horrific. Like, it's going to be mass death. We've already killed millions over the last couple decades. And that was in third world dirt poor countries who can't defend themselves. What happens if we have to go against an adversary that can actually do something? It's going to be insane.
It is.
So that's my worry. So, like, the answer about the bases overseas, do you guys need us there? Do you need us to protect your country, quote unquote?
I mean, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Like, it's nice to have them there, but I don't think, okay. It's very difficult to know, isn't it? Because you never know what countries are going to do if something changes. But I mean, in terms of, say, Europe as a whole, like although the American military is astronomical, I mean, it's so big, it's difficult to fathom. You told me this the other day, but I've heard it a few times that the biggest air force in the world is the U.S. Air Force, second biggest is the U.S. Navy, the third biggest is the Marines, fourth biggest is the National Guard, and then the next biggest is like the RAF or something, and it's like half the size. That is insane. Like, that's crazy to me. And if you do want to talk about, because I'm not just talking about the costs which impact the taxpayer. I'm talking about lives and PTSD and families being broken up, and it's a pretty big deal. But like, in terms of, do we directly need the US? It's very difficult to say. But I mean, like, European nations have pretty big armies. Like, if you can, like I told you the other night, they are trying to make an EU army, which I'm not a big fan of. It fucking sounds terrible to me, frankly. But Germany has a big air force. The UK has, not compared to America, but compared to most other countries, even Russia, Germany has a pretty big air force. The UK has a reasonable air force. France has a reasonable air force. The UK has a couple of brand new and massive and state-of-the-art aircraft carriers. The French have, I think, one, maybe two. The Spanish have one. So, if we're talking about from Russia, perhaps, like, I think those combined forces, like, however people think of NATO, like, even if you took America away, you've also got two nuclear powers in the west of Europe. Arguably, I can't see any reason why Germany couldn't do it if they wanted to. So if Russia were going to start a war with Europe, it would be horrendous. But I can't really see much difference between having America here and not, other than America being able to kind of wave its finger at Russia and be like, don't even think about it.
I think that's fair. I really have to ask this question. So like, the Navy has, I think, the largest Navy in the world is U.S. Navy, right?
Yeah.
And its battleships, just alone with its battleships, is larger than the next 13 countries behind it.
With the battleships themselves, but then apparently China. You must have heard this thing about China, but China has like 3 times the size of America in like another type of ship that is more suited to their war.
Yes, but they also are
like cruisers, maybe.
Yeah, probably. But they are terrible at tech. They have never really fought a war. They don't know what they're doing. They have joint. Listen, they have joint operations, and where they get the Navy, their Air Force, their ground forces, and all this stuff. And they always have to cancel the exercise because it's so embarrassing. People die all the time because they don't know what they're doing. They really don't know. They are just like, and not to mention they do have the largest standing army, but it's still comparable to the U.S. just because those people did it for a year, and then they're kind of just on reserve status forever, and they go like once a year to training or whatever it is. Yeah. It's not a well-trained. We have, I think, like almost 1 million active duty alone, and I think it's almost 3 million or so between reserves. Every state has a reserve. unit, which is controlled by the United States federal government. And then every state has a National Guard, which is controlled by that state.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people. And then you also include all of our guns. We can take care of ourselves for sure.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's the issue. But if they did leave, there's some things that could happen. There's nobody. Russia's going to be able to, with the new Calcutta pipeline, which is why we're in Syria, is to ensure that gets built, because that was actually, it's going to Ukraine, and it will mess with Russia's, your guys' dependence on Russian petrol. So that's why Russia's really in Syria.
Russia. We get gas. Oh, well, we don't, but Europe gets gas from Russia.
Right. You know what I mean?
Petrol.
Well, I'm just using like the petrol dollar.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry. Yeah, like petrol as in I didn't know there was a difference, dude. I'm an American, dude. I just see gas or diesel.
Yeah. So we call petrol what you call gas.
Oh,
And then like what a lot of people get from Russia is methane gas.
Okay, there's language barriers, guys. Every now and then, even with English speaking people, right? But so that we're there strategically to affect Russia and Syria.
Yeah, 100%.
So is that good or bad? And why do we not want Russia to be more economically prosperous? Because we do know that the more economically prosperous a country is, the more free they usually become. There are lesser restrictions on food, and such, unless they're a communist country. In the 1940s, 50s, whenever it was, pre-color revolution in China, they were having mass starvation problems, but what they were also doing, and they were having the farmers. So they had a quota they had to meet. Let's say you had to make 3,000 bushels, right? And if you made 3,200 bushels, that extra 200 had to go to the government. But what they said is like, okay, whatever extra you make, you can keep and sell. Capitalism, right? So all of a sudden, everything exploded. Everyone started trying to make more so they could sell it. They could make, and then it caused the country to really come out of it. And then, which actually helped spur on the revolution that eventually followed the cover revolution in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Tiananmen Square, when was that? Tiananmen Square was in the 70s or so?
84.
Yeah, 80s. So a lot of the sentiment was because of economic prosperity. More free. They're not free, but they definitely have more freedom than they did when they couldn't live. And they have a small version of capitalism with big
1989, Tiananmen Square.
Yeah. So it's like you're seeing a trend in China too. They're worried about Western ways. They're worried about the Western woke crap getting in their country. So they're more focusing on masculinity and strong family structure. They killed 240 million of their own people in the womb. Now they don't have enough young people to take care of the old people. They have an aging population. Guess what that means? Weak. They're getting weak. And you're seeing more prosperity. Just in everyday Chinese lives. It's a fair point, but that's not communism. That's not communism. It's what it is capitalism. And you're seeing more and more people come to the United States from China. They're trying to get here, because they want to.
Difficult.
It is, but they actually have I believe there's a program. But if you get into the H-1B visa program, oh my God, I'm not going to just go to WTF1971.com. Yeah, it's been abused and by our college education system. It's awful.
Oh, no, sorry. What I meant was it must be difficult for America having their number one enemy just walking through the border.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great, but this is the thing. Most of the time, before the fall of the Berlin Wall, one of the things that spurred it on, which now remind me, which side was the bad side? Eastern Bloc, right?
Well, the Russian side was east, and the Western side was obviously west.
Right. So when the Eastern side generals went to negotiate on the Western side, they were like, people got nice cars, people got nice clothes, they got apartments. They immediately, within days, I guess they were like, I don't want to go back.
They have David Hasselhoff.
And they have David Hasselhoff.
So
this is and you're seeing it just in the span of 2 years. The Cubans have seen what Americans have been living like through YouTube, through all this stuff. They're like, I'm sitting here in this store where the only thing I can buy is government cheese.
Yeah.
And government and the products are nothing. When people in America walk down the aisle and there's 32 different types of Honey Nut Cheerios,
Yeah.
It's that's it for them. They're like, I don't want to live like this anymore.
Well,
So
let's go back to Russia. You're right, by the way, completely right. I completely concede your point and have learned about China and freedom. Why? So tell me, like, what is it? Do you think America is purposefully suppressing Russia?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so what we have is this is the problem with old people. There's good things about old people. There's bad things about old people. Old people carry their old problems with them most of their life. Just the way it is. Usually an alcoholic at 30 is probably still going to be an alcoholic at 60 if they make it that long, or 70 or 80. So they're carrying all this luggage up the stairs as they just get piled on more luggage, and they're slowing, and there's a line of young people behind them.
Mm.
And they're just like, dude, I got like a McDonald's, dude. Just let me get by you. And they're like, no, like, this is where we're at in our country. They're monsters. No, they're monsters. They really are.
Mm.
So what we're seeing is this old mentality. So like James Mattis, right? Everyone was so happy that he got to be Secretary of Defense. I'm like, why? He's a scumbag. He is an idiot. He's a smart man. He's a genius. But his old head mentality, I believe that we need to go instill and win hearts and minds after I just obliterated their family and their cities and their people and their religion. And I just said, yes, we are going to make you Americans, but by proxy, not by legitimate. Like, this is not how those people work. They literally think that you can go in with the military, kill their family and friends, and they're going to suddenly be on your side. You're a moron. You're dumb.
Mm.
Like, I don't know.
So let's talk about Russia.
Uh-huh.
Like, why do you think they're sort of suppressing
Oh,
Russia?
it's so simple, because this goes all the way back to the Cold War.
Mm.
The Cold War, dude. COINTEL with I think it's Iran. We were giving them weapons and stuff, and then Afghanistan, we went in there
Oh,
to fight
yeah.
them. We did
Iran
all this.
Contra?
Yeah, Iran Contra. That's what it is. That's what it is. Correct. So like, COINTELPRO, I think, is a United States operation.
Oh, there's a similar, yeah.
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff, like, or like Fast and Furious, where the FBI
Yeah.
is selling guns to the cartel, and then they end up killing Americans. Scumbags. You're not really, like, I don't know what the hell you think you're doing. But so this old head mindset. So Mattis went to the West Point, wherever the hell he went to college, and gets taught this old head ways. Gets brought up by a general, is taught in the old head ways, and then now he's modernized it from being the Cold War is stay away, psychological warfare, fifth generation will use technology to mess with people, and to we're gonna just crush you with our military and make you subservient to the way we think. And I personally think that's stupid. James Mattis was so furious that Trump tried to pull troops out of Syria that he quit. Think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, but the Russia, so it's this old head idea. Russia, Putin is smart man, and he knows his people he's not afraid of them. I mean, he's an old head too, so he's wary of. But the next couple guys, that maybe it takes 30, 40 years. But if we're nice and we play nice with them, as long as they're not killing people and doing awful stuff, like, things could change. But we literally have our leaders and government just entrenching themselves against the Russians still. And it's like, Putin, if you go watch that last ABC or NBC, MSNBC, one of them interview, he's very open and he's laughing and he's like, like, President Biden's got a lot of things, he's cool or whatever. He's not trying to talk shit all the time. He's passive aggressive at the worst. And he points out America. He's like, who are you to talk to me when you got 500-600 people locked up in your prisons, for trying to make their political voice heard.
Yes. Yep. So let's talk about, wow, man, your mind is very, very difficult to, like, it's so hard to predict what your thoughts would be on something, because I thought you'd be, let's bring all the troops home. We don't need all of these bases. We don't need to be spending all this money. And
it's complicated.
It's
so
100%.
complicated.
100%.
Because,
Absolutely.
like you said, bring up that thing you talked about does the countries want us there? Remember you were reading it before
Oh,
we got
okay.
on?
Yeah, sure.
Like let's get a respect to see, or not a respect. Let's get perspective and see how these host nations, if they want us there at all.
Yeah, sure.
You know?
Okay.
Because I think that's
yeah. So this is from theconversation.com. And this was just with regards to what the sort of the people of the countries okay, this is what the people of the countries where the American bases are. This is the public opinion towards the U.S. military presence slash, I don't know, what would you call it? Well, I guess presence is fine.
presence is fine.
Yeah, some people would use a stronger word, but and I guess it's complicated because a lot of these people probably have no idea what America is doing there, how nice a lot of the American families are. I've never met a not nice American family here. You know, a lot of these people, probably 99% of them, won't really have any interaction. Like in the UK, I have a couple of bases near me, but most people in the UK would have no idea that the Americans are here. So, but they'll still be answering these.
They want to be like affecting their everyday life.
Exactly. Okay, so the most sort of the country that has the most favor towards the U.S. bases being there is the Philippines, and that is 37% very favorable and 39% favorable.
Which that does make sense though. We saved their butts a couple times.
Well, also this is what we talked about before the show.
Yeah.
Slightly poorer countries, I
Love
think,
America.
yeah, like they will see American products, they will get
Actually,
the dollar.
before we continue, I have a friend. He's from an island near the
Mm.
Philippines, near Guam, called Tinian. Tinian
Okay.
is like, I think it's like 13 miles long or something, like 2 miles wide. He didn't
Yeah.
see TV until he was like 16,
Wow.
17. I think when he said the first time he had ever seen like a full blown TV, like all like going, like, was when he went to join the U.S. military.
That's crazy, but
Yeah,
cool.
because they're like kind of America. They are actually like they have their own government, but if you join, you can become a U.S. citizen from there.
So like a territory sort of thing.
Yes, territory.
So my phone screensaver just came on. Okay, and then in the middle you got Australia, South Korea. So 20% very favorable, and then 30% favorable. They then have 26%. So this is Australia, 26% unfavorable, and then 11%. Excuse me, 19% very unfavorable. So that's Australia.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
So that's very spread out, isn't it? You know, there's sort of an even number of people.
I think we only have one base in Australia too, or two. Maybe.
Yeah, there's definitely one at the top left, which
Yeah.
they thought was interfering. So it's a giant radar, a super powerful radar, like 5 miles. The whole facility is enormous. And they had 3 air crashes, and it took them until the 3rd air crash to realize it was the power of the radar that was interfering with the aircraft systems.
Do you know why they probably hate us? Just me speculating.
I
Why
don't think
they
they
are
hate
so
you.
not hate, but like disfavorable. They're not they're very unfavorable. Isn't that what you just said? They were like
No. Let me tell you again. Australia, 20% very favorable, 30%, 30%, 30 favorable, 26% unfavorable, and then 19% very unfavorable.
No, that's pretty split though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. An equal amount between the 4.
But that's not. So like, that's not good. 50-50 split's not great. It's okay. It's okay. It's not
Yeah,
good.
well, but again, like I say, a lot of these people, especially in America, Australia, probably don't have any idea that the Americans are even there. And if they do,
That's
they've probably
true.
never met any. So they're just reading this poll and they're like, wait, America's in our country? Why?
I can sit there and go like, are you telling me I can't have a gun? But this
Exactly.
fucking guy can? Like, that would piss me off, dude. That would make me so mad.
So then if we go towards the bottom, the countries with the least favor, the UK, by the way, is in the middle. I earlier said it was towards the bottom because it was towards the bottom of that page. But if I look at the whole thing, the countries that are at the bottom of the sort of favorability are Italy, Germany, and Japan, and they all have very similar numbers. 7% very favorable, 20% favorable, 40% unfavorable, and 26% very unfavorable.
What country is this?
Italy, Germany, and Japan.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. No, definitely Japan. I'll tell you, I know people who've been to Japan. They're called a specific name for Americans. It's forgotten to me right now. But
Guaylo.
is that what it is?
That's Chinese.
But they literally you can't go in certain areas if you're American. They won't let you. It's illegal. Like
They're a very
I don't know if
hegemonic society.
Oh, and that's the thing though. They're very strong people. UK is a very strong people too. And I this is like the same thing when you look at any homogenous country and they have all the same culture. And this is what like the diversity in the United States kind of is. I mean, I love everybody. I have no problems with anybody, but we have no unifying culture anymore because of the destruction of it. Like because of the actions of the right wing and the actions of the left wing, they've been destroying what our country is supposed to be about. And it started probably back post World War I. There is some serious concerns for me. Like, it's like diversity is it our strength or is it our weakness? Like there is like some really awful people out there that will say some horrible stuff, and I don't believe any of those things, but homogenous countries just get along together seems like a little bit easier.
Well,
But
they have a couple of less issues to bicker about.
But then again, I am confronted with the situation in Darfur, Rwanda, where based on the size, width of your nose, they would kill you.
Such a good point. Like, my dad used to say, like in South Africa, they can all appear roughly the same to people like you and me, roughly the same. I'm not saying they all look the same. And you would think there's no difference between you wouldn't think there's different races, but there's some of the most racist people on earth down there, just because of the tribes.
The Iraq, Sunni and Shiites.
There you go, and that's just a religious thing, isn't it? Like, it's people will find a way to bicker.
Yes, and the thing is, in America, which made us special, was that because we were so culturally diverse, because we were the melting pot. Like I look at our political struggles in this country as a good thing, because you can have them. Some countries you can't have struggles, period. So these periods of strife and everything, like I'm telling you right now, America hasn't been the good guy for 60 years. Let's just say 70, 80 years, whatever. In my opinion, they have not been working in good faith all the time. Maybe not every situation, but before that, we were the good guys. But we also conquered and killed people. So we're really the good guys. We had slavery. We had these things. It's a complicated history. I don't hate America because what we've done the last 20 years, but I know why people hate me. Like, I get it. Like, I understand why people in Afghanistan hate me because I killed their brother to them.
Yeah. But, when you see film, oh, God, I feel like such a cheeseball even saying this.
Come on.
You know how, like, if you see that film about Marcus Luttrell, Lone Survivor?
Yeah, it's propaganda. Yeah.
Okay. My question was going to be, all of the Afghans seem really to like Americans. It's like the only people that don't like America in films like that are the actual Taliban. Like the villagers were all like, "Oh, America." Is that true or not?
I mean, listen, there's going to be factions anywhere you rise up. It's just like, they're going to choose a side. It's like people who were loyalists to the British and then there were revolutionaries, in America. I think, listen, the Marcus Luttrell story is cool. Like, I have nothing against Marcus Luttrell. He's, in my mind, a bad dude that he was sent there by his country to do a job.
When you say bad, do you mean it in the normal sense?
Yeah, like a badass motherfucker. Like he's obviously a badass, But then again, you look like someone like Chris Kyle. He was a liar for sure. Proven in court. Does that make him a bad man? No. Narcissistic, probably. Like he lied about how many medals he had. Why? Why are you lying about a medal? Like, dude, you're a Navy SEAL. You've done a lot of things, but it calls into question a lot of things. And Marcus Luttrell, from what I've heard, not verified, some things he has. There might be some things that could not be true. Okay, he's a person. People exaggerate. I'm not going to condemn him. But it's propaganda. It's like Pat Tillman. Pat Tillman gets shot by friendly fire. We didn't find out for 2 years, and they made big parade for him because Pat Tillman was an NFL linebacker, I believe. And
I know his story. It was heartbreaking.
it is
Heartbreaking.
what's more heartbreaking, the fact that the government used it as publicity to get more people to join the military to go facilitate a war when he was shot by friendly fire.
That is more heartbreaking. Like,
it's awful.
For those that don't know, Pat Tillman was an NFL
linebacker.
Linebacker.
I think it was linebacker. He might have been a special teams guy, actually. I'm not sure.
And he was earning 800,000, I think, a year or something. Could have been more. And he gave up. I know a lot of Americans will know this, but I don't think many Brits will. He gave up his job, which is massive. Like, people don't understand. Like, if you're 23 or something, or 25, and you're going to give up your career for maybe 3 or 4 years, you're basically ending your career.
Well, not to mention you go from making 800,000 to like 18,000.
Right. And so I shouldn't laugh because what I'm about to say. And he went, he went into Afghanistan.
Well, first he went to I think he was an officer. He might have been enlisted. Don't quote me, but he did go to Army Ranger School.
No, I'm sure he was enlisted, wasn't he?
I think he was. Yeah, I'm like he did. He had a college degree, so that's why I paused for a second.
Okay.
It's like there's another guy, but he went to Ranger School, and I don't know if he went to a Ranger regiment. They're different. Just saying. Just because you go to Ranger School does not make you Billy Badass. It just doesn't.
Okay.
So I don't know, but he was a part of some unit, and then he ended up getting.
They were on a mountaintop, and they called in air support. Or I think it was air support or artillery. I'm 99% sure it was air support. Anyway, whatever support they called in, they had the wrong coordinates. They had given them the correct coordinates, but they were firing at the wrong mountaintop, and that was the mountaintop that Pat Tillman and his buddy were on, calling, asking for help, because there was Taliban or whatever around, and they basically just pummeled the crap out of that hilltop, and that's where Pat Tillman was. So pretty heartbreaking.
It had to be Pat Tillman, That's how destiny works in a weird way.
Yeah, crazy.
And they lied to his parents, which is unforgivable. Because you know why? PR, dude. That's what our government thinks of its soldiers. PR.
There's a great documentary, like if people have a spare hour and a half, there's an amazing documentary by his family on the whole thing.
No, and I think I've seen the same one you are talking about, but you're talking about a man that saw 9/11, wanted to do something about it, and this is the thing about propaganda, and we got to be careful. And like, I don't blame him. Listen, I felt it too. I was there. Not literally there, but I lived in the country. I was in Massachusetts, sitting in my 4th grade classroom with my substitute teacher, Mr. Erickson, and he puts the TV on, and I see women jumping from the fire as they're holding down like their skirts so like they don't, like you're seeing like the most intoxicating, crazy. Then all of a sudden they're like, we're getting out of here. Like, everyone, we're going to the cafeteria. You're getting locked. Like, you're gonna get, the school buses are coming now, and you're going home.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know what was going to be targeted next. They had no idea. So we all went through that. But as a young man, I can imagine the freaking rage you would feel towards those people that, Dude, imagine if someone during Wembley just eliminated everybody in that building, full packed house. Like, it would be like,
I mean, listen, like, everybody over here as well, like, that felt very similar. Like, my other half, she had like 3 or 4 different documentaries on it because, it was such an impactful thing. I remember when I saw it, I think it was roughly, I don't know, let me see, 4 or 5, like 1:30 in the afternoon, 1:45. And, like, I'd come home early
that would
from
make
work.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd come home early from work, and my mum, I was still living with my mum because I was, I don't know, 18 or something.
Yeah,
19.
you must, because you're 6 years older than me, right? You're 36?
Yeah. 37.
37. Oh,
38.
yes.
I'm 38.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Are you 38? You old
Yeah.
bastard.
Jesus, man.
Hey, man, it's okay, dude. You
God,
look good.
anyway.
You look
And
handsome.
so I came home. My mum came home around the same time as me, and we just switched the TV on out of habit. And that at that point, it was like the first plane had hit, and we just looked at each other like, oh, what? Like who flies into a freaking skyscraper?
Mhm.
And then, everyone was they were all talking, all the CNN or BBC, whoever it was, they were all like, oh my God. Well, actually, at that stage, they were kind of like confused. And then I remember like watching the second plane hit and just being like, holy crap, like we're going to war. That as soon as that second plane hit, I knew the UK, because obviously we're America's dog or whatever people call us. I knew that we're going to war. And I knew that I had friends that were going to war, and
Yeah.
one of those
But
things.
this is the problem. We never declared war, and we never went through the congressional processes in our country to do things. We reacted. We had guys on the ground within like a few months in Afghanistan, Green Beret guys. They made a movie about it. Horseback. They were fighting tanks on horseback and stuff, doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Listen, I think everyone felt validated, but for what they did, and I don't blame people feeling that way, but this is what I'm talking about. And the biggest thing is this: don't you dare think for one freaking second that, not, let's say like all conspiracies out, that the government will not use these types of situations, just like we saw with the response to this virus. They will use any excuse imaginable to to do awful things, and they don't care because it's all about power, and that's what it's about.
Never let a good crisis go to waste.
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing, is like, sad. It's sad, man. But I will say this: I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if Ron Paul's extreme, pull our troops home.
Yeah.
Maybe that is a good answer. Maybe we should let you guys build up your militaries for the next couple of years, 4 or 5 years, help you guys do that, and then we back out so you could just,
I think the trouble is though, like, yeah, I mean that's certainly a logical idea, but like
yeah.
I just don't think that America is here. I don't think America is in Germany because they like the Germans, or
No,
America is in Romania because they like Romanians.
it's
I think they're
bartering.
there as part of their strategic world power and part
Yes.
of their economy. And I don't mean that offensively. I would
No,
do the same if I was a powerful country. But like,
you guys did.
exactly, yeah, exactly. But like, in terms of like letting them build up, we already have a relatively big army. Like it's roughly the same size as Russia's.
How many
Um,
people do you have in your military approximately?
well, the people is tiny, but
Yeah,
like,
how many? Like 60, 70, 80,
yeah,
100,000?
it's something like that. I think like a few years ago it was 130,000.
Yeah, okay. But
But
not the million we have, or the China, or the
no,
Russia.
no, no. But like Russia and stuff, I don't, Russia doesn't have, in terms of like aircraft, navy,
Yeah.
nukes. It's not like they're going to be like
That's
an
what I'm
enormous.
saying. They want to be chill. They want to chill out.
Yeah,
This is not old school
maybe.
Russia. Watch the,
So,
I don't know. Oh, sorry.
sorry. So at the moment we have 157,000 regulars. We have 47,000 reserves, 10,000 intelligence available personnel. What is an available intelligence personnel?
That's probably your secret service agencies,
Okay.
your secret agencies and stuff.
Uh, yeah, it says like roughly 200,000.
Right.
Yeah, like I think whenever I see those things where it's like the biggest navies, the biggest air force, the UK, France, they're always like in the top 4 or 5, if not the top 3.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I don't think it's and also like I said before, us and America, and actually I think Estonia were the only countries that were paying more than their fair share into NATO. So they've already been paying a lot. I know that Boris Johnson has increased our spending a couple of times because we had a couple of areas that were left a little bit patchy, kind of like how Obama had left certain areas a bit patchy.
Crimea.
Um, so I just don't know whether we need, because obviously I think in time, if it was a time of crisis against, say, Russia, I think you're going to get places like Germany, Spain, Italy, France, and the UK would band together and have a force bigger than
Yeah.
Russia.
Yes. Well,
Would it
and
be
that's
better? Who knows?
well, this is the thing. So like we learned and just because I know we're probably running short on time, I just want to talk about people need to go look up the first engagement we had in Egypt or Africa. It was somewhere in Africa. It was Egypt, I believe, against Aaron Rommel, known as the Desert Fox.
Yes.
I think we lost 10 or
Graham
12,000
Patty
troops.
was there.
10 or 10, 12,000, 10,000 troops or some very large number for like 2 or 3 hours. Like we got decimated. And we realized, oh my God, our people aren't trained because they've been peacetime, everything's chill. And it's the same problem you guys will run into eventually. And so will we. If we ever do have to get into a major conflict again, you're going to have a lot of soft people that don't have military leadership experience, and our generals
Absolutely.
become crazy. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
our
interesting.
last, besides all the Middle East stuff, like our last war was 1981.
That's good.
No, it's not.
It's been 19 since you guys haven't been in war.
I love that. Yeah, no, I was saying our last war, besides all the Middle Eastern stuff, was 1981. I mean, we've obviously had conflict zones, and the SAS gets sent into Africa to save some Swedish diplomats or something.
Do you know? Do you know what
But the
they used to
Falklands,
say in the army post Vietnam?
what?
Love being a soldier, hate being in the army. It's because you get run by bureaucrats. That's what the military becomes—a bunch of bureaucrat bull crap. It's slow. It's stupid. They're not efficient. War is what soldiers are meant to do. Um,
Yeah,
and I understand they believe that if they create conflicts, we create generational strength, but at what cost? And what should we be still doing these tribal wars and killing people for money or for land? Or there's serious questions to be asked. Like, where are we heading as a human race? Like,
mm,
like I
yeah,
don't know. And I kind of like the Star Trek: The Next Generation vibe, like where they're kind of like, we will like talk to you and stuff, but we're not going to impose our will on you and make you do something that you don't want to. Like it's your culture, it's your place. We don't have to agree with you, but
yeah.
let's communicate and talk so that we can maybe influence your culture and like help out and like build maybe I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. We say we try to do that. I just don't know.
I think the most important thing is just to be honest and say none of this stuff is as easy as a lot of people would like to make out.
No, it's
Like
definitely not. But it's like South
it's so
Africa today.
complicated.
South Africa is killing people en masse right now because they're killing their looters because they are heavily armed in South Africa. In Johannesburg, they've
Yeah,
been looting all these malls and doing all this crazy stuff. The civilian populace said, screw it. And they just start shooting people.
mm,
Is that
yeah,
America's problem? Is that Britain's problem? Or is that something they need to handle themselves? That's something they need
yeah.
to handle themselves.
And then South Africa obviously a lot smaller now. They used to have they used to have nuclear weapons. South
Did
Africa.
they?
Yeah,
They gave up that power. There may be hope in the world somewhere. I don't
they
know.
they gave up the power because they knew they were about to give up the government.
And I do think we should tell this is breaking news just now, just saying, before we get off. It's something that people need to be aware of. One, make sure you check the FDA rules, and follow all the proposed guidances for the FDA, the CDC. I'm not a doctor. Talk to your doctor. I'm just reading news from routers. Okay. I'm going to send you this so you can put it in the link if that's okay. Or do you
Yeah.
not want to even broach the subject?
What's this? Wait, what's the subject?
I'm going to read this from routers. U.S. to announce new warning on J&J V word
Yeah.
for autoimmune disorder. Washington Post is accredited with writing the original
Wait,
article.
so people that are fairly pro medication to prevent you getting a
Sickies. No,
common
no
yeah.
sickies, please.
Yeah, so people that are normally fairly pro that are actually saying that the government may well come out with a warning to say that this is causing issues big time.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So basically, not maybe, but it might only affect one particular group of people. But this just shows why this is something I believe you need to make sure you're getting your information not from me, not from TV Doctor, Tim Pool, Donald Trump, the goddamn Eskimos that live on the North Pole, if they exist. I've never heard. I heard there's magical people that live there. But I don't care. Like, just, you have to make your own decisions, and you need to go talk to a doctor. That's all I'm going to say. Go talk to your physician who knows your history. Don't be sitting, That's my thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You got to do what's right for you. And you sure as, like Dan says, sure as hell shouldn't be listening to people on the tube of you about something that important.
But the problem is, what I have really is, okay, now we know when people have been saying, hey, slow our roll, let people take risk if they want to. And yeah. But I'll just send you the link because I think it's pretty cool, like that we got, because just a little congratulations for us. We're over 600 subs now. We made it. So keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing. Let us know in the comments some of your beliefs. Call me a moron. Call me a piece of crap. I would love to hear it, all of it. I won't read it because I don't know how to read. I just I'm an American. I don't have to read. I got things to read for me. I got people to read for me. Okay, that's just how this works.
Nice.
I got people to fight my wars for me. I just do nothing.
Slow your roll. 1 second. I have something to say.
Absolutely.
We're gonna just line it up for a second with a couple of song recommendations.
Oh my God, I'm a jerk. I'm a jerk. I have it right here in front of me.
Because we don't like to end on all this serious stuff. We want to
sorry.
end on, no, it's fine. We want to end on something a little bit lighthearted. So, Daniel-san.
Yes.
You can go first.
First song, Bob Dylan's "Tangled Up in Blue." Great song. Go check it out. Bob Dylan, dude. Bob Dylan's freaking like, he really is. He's not hyped up. He's not over. Like, he's good.
I have a good impression of Bob Dylan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I bet this is so common. I'm just gonna do it. Johnny's in the basement, think about the mansion. I'm on the pavement, think about the government.
Dude, yeah, come on, man. That's a great song. Great song. And honest, he has such a unique voice. It's so great.
Yeah, it's a seriously unique voice. So my song is a band that originated about 10 miles away, about 30 miles away from where I am here. The band is called The Darkness.
Oh my God, I love The Darkness.
They're amazing.
I used to listen to them in gym when I was a kid. They were sick.
They're a cool band. And the song is Love Is Only a Feeling. And the reason I like it is because it's kind of a modern take on hair metal, and the instrumentals and stuff are so crisp. The guitar solo in this song, like, if you're not air guitaring to this song, you need to go to the doctor and talk to them about possibly some antidepressives, because this solo is insane.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a really modern, like, hair band. Yeah, dude. Yes. Actually, honestly, they have quite a few good songs, dude. I used to have Approach for Landing or something, I think it was. It has like the naked chick with the paddleboard thing.
Yeah.
My second song is the Beach Boys, God Only Knows. The Beach Boys is, and I try to give popular songs to get people introduced to them. The Beach Boys are surprisingly really talented guys, and they really are interesting musicians. They have some music that is like out of this weird, wild stuff. So I definitely recommend God Only Knows. Is just a classic, man. I love it.
Yeah, it definitely is. My second song is by a band who, by the time I got to America, I didn't even know this until like 5 or 6 years later. He had already died at like 27, 28 years old, maybe in the 27 club, maybe just missed it by a year. The band is Sublime.
Yeah.
And the song, of course, is Santeria.
Yeah.
Although there's a few songs it could have been. But yeah, I love the song. They kind of have that ska rock, Cali in the 90s vibe. A great film actually to watch if you want to know what it was like to, because I was there even for a short period of time. You want to know what it was like being in Cali, in around that kind of thing, is Alpha Dog with Justin. What's his name?
Yeah, Justin
Timberlake.
Timberlake.
Yeah. If you watch that film, that's based on a true story, and that's very much like sublime territory.
If you got like 5 hours, go watch like No Direction Home on Netflix by Bob Dylan. About Bob Dylan, directed by Martin Scorsese, I believe. It's awesome.
Nice.
Last guy, and I would be shocked if you heard of him, but he is so interesting. I'm gonna tell you, and you're gonna just by his name. His name is Fantastic Negrito Plastic Hamburger. It is so groovy, dude. It's like to me, it's like if Miles Davis was a rock and roll guy in a weird way, but no jazz.
Yeah.
Like it's just like rock and roll funk, just whipping through the seams. Like your pants are falling down, and you're trying to get away from the cops, but like you have a little coke left, and you're just trying to get like it's like this crazy. It's so, dude. One of the nastiest riffs. Like the opening of the song, you're like, oh yeah, dude. You're just like boom, boom. Like you just can't help it, dude. Filthy.
Yeah, love it. Okay, my last one. I've kind of gone really like mainstream for the. Well, I guess Santeria is 50-50.
I mean, shit, dude. I said Bob Dylan and the Beach Boys. I don't think you're getting much more mainstream than that, you know?
Yeah, I guess, but like for people that are younger, like I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, fair point. So my final song, just because I feel like people can kind of rock out to it, or remind them. People of a certain age will remind them of their teenage years, and maybe just after that, is Wheatus, Teenage Dirtbag.
Oh my God, yeah. Didn't they
Like,
write that song, Baby
her
Bitch?
name is
Oh, that's
so-
Ween. Do you know Ween?
Yes.
Baby Bitch? I fucking love that
Oh,
song.
I don't remember. I don't know that song. I can't recall it, but I know the band.
Yeah, it's so good. That song's fun.
But yeah, I love it. I think it's another feel good song. I do a lot of feel good songs on here because I feel like we need it.
I'll
I feel
bring
like
the
we need it.
darkness. I'll bring some darkness.
Oh,
Fantastic Negrito is fun.
I brought the darkness today.
Ah.
Kaboom.
My movie is a classic to me. It's actually it's my favorite director, probably next to Stanley Kubrick. Is Paul Thomas Anderson's There Will Be Blood, starring Daniel Day-Lewis. He plays a character, an oil tycoon named Daniel Plainview, and it's beautiful and awesome. And you would never think it would be interesting to see something like this, but Daniel Plainview is amazing and a character, and you'll love it. I just don't know how you won't love it, personally.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah,
My movie, a little bit of an off the wall choice, but I really hope some of you go out and watch it if you can. And I think you will be very, very pleasantly surprised. It was a Brazilian film, and it came out in the earlier part of this millennium. And the film is called City of God. It is an absolutely amazing film. I believe it got tons of awards from the right places, not the wrong places, if you know what I mean. It's just over 2 hours long, and it's basically about the favelas and the gangs in late 90s Brazil. So the synopsis or whatever is: in the slums of Rio, two kids' paths diverge as one struggles to become a photographer and the other a drug kingpin. Amazing film.
I don't think I've seen it. I might have years ago, but I'm like, I'm trying to think. It reminds me of this.
I'm sure Sean has. He'll tell you
Sean's seen everything probably.
He's a library.
There's very few movies Sean probably hasn't seen, and anything after like 1970 probably he's definitely seen. Like he's seen like the big ones, and then every big monolithic hit before that, pretty much, all the way down to Citizen Kane or M by Fritz Lang. I mean, it goes all the way back for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, walk us out, dude. Let us. I've already
Yeah,
walked us out
so-
once. I failed.
No, you did. You were doing good. So yeah, thanks guys. I really appreciate everything. But it's been a roller coaster for me, and you know, it's nice to do this, and I really appreciate what Devin did for us. I
Yeah.
really appreciate what you guys have done to us. Flying Monkeys rule, and yeah, if you can, check out Zoobox. 2 words, fun show.
Zoobox
Uh,
podcast. Usually you'll
right.
find it pretty quickly.
Yeah, and yeah, I hope we will make some things that you will like as well, so that you do stick around and take part.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will we'll see you again soon.
Have a good day, guys.
Winston stopped writing, partly because he was suffering from cramp. He did not know what had made him pour out this stream of rubbish